Welcome to Invest with Alex, the podcast where we break down money, markets, and investing in a way that actually makes sense. Today, we're diving into a topic that seems to come up every time the economy hits a rough patch. Maybe you've heard it on the news, seen it in headlines, or just felt the uncertainty in the air. Are we heading into a recession? Or could this be something worse, a depression? These two words get tossed around a lot, sometimes even interchangeably. But they're not the same thing. In fact, the difference between them is huge, not just in definition, but in how they affect your job, your savings, your investments, and your future. So, what's the real difference between a recession and a depression? Let's talk about it. Let's start with the recession, something most of us have either lived through or at least felt the effects of. A recession is basically an economic slowdown. Growth stalls, businesses pull back, people lose jobs, and the economy contracts for a while. It's painful, yes, but usually temporary. Governments and central banks step in, cut interest rates, and try to get things moving again. We've seen recessions happen throughout modern history. The early 2000s after the dot-com bubble. The Great Recession in 2008 after the housing crash. Even the short but sharp pandemic-driven recession in 2020. In each case, the economy took a hit, but it recovered. It bounced back, and life went on. Now, a depression is different. It's deeper, longer, more damaging. We're talking about an economic breakdown on a much larger scale. The most famous example, of course, is the Great Depression of the 1930s. What started as a stock market crash spiraled into a decade of economic misery. Banks failed. Unemployment hit 25%. People lost their life savings overnight. It wasn't just a downturn, it was a collapse of the entire system. And here's the key difference. Recessions are part of the normal economic cycle. Depressions are not. They're rare, they're extreme, and they usually mean that something in the financial system has fundamentally broken. So why does this matter to you? Because the way we react to these two situations as individuals and as a society is very different. In a recession, the focus is on surviving the storm, saving money, keeping your job, investing cautiously, maybe even looking for opportunity if you're prepared. But in a depression, the rules can change. Entire industries can collapse. Long-term unemployment becomes a reality. The government might take extraordinary measures just to keep the system alive. The good news? True depressions are rare. The US has really only had one major one, the Great Depression, and economists have spent decades trying to make sure it doesn't happen again. Even the 2008 financial crisis, as painful as it was, didn't become a depression, largely because of aggressive intervention by central banks around the world. So here's the bottom line. A recession is serious but manageable. A depression is rare and far more devastating. The difference lies in how deep the damage goes, how long it lasts, and whether the system can recover on its own or whether it needs to be rebuilt from the ground up. When you hear those headlines, when you feel that financial anxiety rising, it helps to understand the scale. Not every downturn is a disaster, and not every market dip means the sky is falling. What matters is knowing how to stay informed, how to stay calm, and how to make smart decisions, no matter what the economy is doing. That's why you're here, and that's why I'm here with you every step of the way. Thanks for listening to Invest with Alex. If you found today's episode helpful, make sure to follow the show, leave a review, and share it with someone who might find it useful too. Next time, we'll keep building your financial knowledge brick by brick. Until then, stay curious, stay focused, and as always, invest smart.